Well, good morning to you, everybody. Mark Sudduth here, Greg Nordstrom as well, CJ Morgan,
How's it going, guys?
and hey, happy Monday to you,
Yeah.
January 19th, 2026. This is Talking Weather Roadshow edition, live from our hotel room here in Buffalo, or close to Buffalo, New York. Good to have you with me, Greg. This is awesome. We're
Yeah.
up here chasing some lake effect snow. We're going to talk about that. And we have CJ down there in Florida. We'll do a little bit of banter here as we wait for people to jump on. Is it warm where you are, CJ? Because it is anything but up
It
here.
is not actually. When I woke up this morning, it was 38 degrees.
Yeah,
We're slowly warming up. We're gonna hit the lower 60s today, but Greg, it's the South is frozen right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's relative, but I feel
Yeah,
you. Like when it
yeah,
starts getting below, 40 into the 30s, I know on the whim to
yeah,
the cold, it starts getting cold for us.
yeah.
But you know what I always say to that though? People make fun of us for the cold, but come down to Mississippi in
yeah,
August when it's
Right,
100 with a dew point at 80, and then we'll talk
right,
then.
right, right,
right.
right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or like Brent run basically a sewer company in the
Oh,
Virgin Islands where it's 88
Oh man.
over 80 all the
all
time.
year. Yeah. Oh,
That's
nope.
why Brent always looks good because he sweats out everything he eats.
It's like a literal sauna.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Well, good to see everybody. We'll occasionally look over at the YouTube chat and see how you guys are doing. But yeah, we're up in the Buffalo area. Greg has always wanted to go after lake effect snow. I mean, he teaches a course on it. He
right.
actually showed me one of his lectures, and while we were driving up here, very easy drive to get here. You got to admit that was a piece of cake.
Yeah, it really wasn't too bad at
Yeah.
Yeah,
all.
but
Good.
went through your home territory of Pennsylvania.
Yep. The great state of
Also,
Pennsylvania.
yes. And it was really easy to get up here. DC on Sunday, no problem at all. Went
Bad.
around the western side.
Right.
Yeah, it took the Beltway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that and all kinds of other stuff and kind of an abbreviated road version of the show. But we do have a lot of interesting stuff and very important topics here as we go through. So let me share my screen and I'll show you guys the menu for today. Significant lake effect snows this week. That's why we're here. And Greg's going to give you some insight to that as we move forward. And then we're going to spend a pretty good chunk of today's update talking about this major winter storm. You're talking about tripping the algorithm. Dude, it's done. It's tripped and it's fallen. And we'll see if we can ever get up again, to coin an old phrase from that commercial. Yeah, major winter storm potentially with massive, massive ramifications for travel, for energy use, for economic impacts, you name it. We're going to discuss that. And we're going to talk about Artemis, Artemis 2. It made it. It's all the way over to the launch pad. And we met a guy last night, or Greg did, one of our friends of our project, Bill, and he's got rockets on his shelf. Anyway, we were all talking about this. We're all excited about the next launch of Artemis. So I just wanted to touch upon it. And look, you folks out there in ski country of Utah and Colorado, you got a snow drought going on. So we're going to just go over that a little bit. Spoiler alert, I don't see any change for them, unfortunately, with that trough
Not in the short
over,
term.
right, over in the east. So those are our topics. Now, I don't have the usual tools on the road that I do at home. So I'm actually going to use the National Weather Service generated national high and low temperature map. I still like to obviously cover all of this, but I just don't have the map that I do, which is okay. So our national, let me move the zoom panel over here. National high and low is so far away in my eyes. Excuse me, Greg.
It's okay.
The high temperature yesterday, we have a tie from 86 in Escondido, California, and San Pasqual Valley. You know those areas? Used to be a California
I
boy.
mean, it's definitely east and kind of closer to San Diego down there.
So we
Mhm.
split it between those areas, all the way in Southern Cali, you see by the red star,
Yep.
and down in Southeast Florida. So, CJ, how the hell is it 86 degrees in Hollywood, but it's 38 where you are today? And I know a day can make a big difference, but like,
It's funny.
what?
Yeah, it's funny though that it was 86 yesterday in Hollywood and we had snow in the Panhandle. Think of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we
That's
had a
actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah, we had a really strong cold front come through yesterday. Winds gusting upwards of tropical storm force, actually. I mean, it was,
Right. Blew your furniture
enough to
around.
notice. And our temperatures, I want to say, dropped about 15 degrees within the span of 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
It was, yeah, it was
Well,
really strong.
so a share between California and Florida are national high temperatures. And then the low temperature for yesterday was minus 23
Ooh.
near Salina, or however you say that, in Minnesota. No surprise there.
Hard pass.
And it's going to get a
Hard
lot colder
passes.
than that
Exactly
coming
right.
up. Now, since I'm on the road and I'm using an older laptop and whatever, I'm not going to do the Google Street View thing today. Sorry. We'll do that. That's a home thing. We do that at home. Plus, we're a little bit up against the clock. We're not trying to rush things, but we do want to go get some breakfast and then get out and show you guys the lake effect snow on the live
Right.
cam from our vehicle. So, no Google Street View today, but you know what? I bet Hollywood and Escondido and Selena will be back in eventually for highs and lows, and I'll show you that at a future date. But that's where they were. I like to point that out and just teach people a little
That's pretty
geography.
cool. I like how you guys do this.
Yep. All right. So yesterday, as CJ was just alluding to, this is from Noah Bergman that he retweeted from Keith
Mhm.
Wilson. And Noah, of course, down there at Fox 35 Orlando. 1/18/26, another Gulf snowstorm.
Yep.
Florida, the Sunshine State. Yeah, mostly. What do you think, Greg? I mean, we were driving up here, we saw no snow falling,
Yeah,
Right.
where I live
and
in
we're in New York.
Where I live in Gulfport, they missed out. I mean,
Ugh.
look,
They got it.
again, it's all relative. I mean, yes,
Right.
the snow was gone in a few hours once the
Right.
sun came
Right.
out, but still, you don't see this too often.
Nope.
And last year, people understand that was an anomaly. That's a
Yeah,
one
that was a once in a
50, at
century.
least to maybe 100-year event.
Yeah.
I know for Gulfport, that was our biggest snow since
Yeah.
1963.
Yeah,
Mhm.
didn't Dylan go to Metairie, New Orleans area with his dad?
Yep,
for that?
Dylan came down for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. I
Yeah.
mean, even just a quick story with the Gulfport snow record. The airport,
yeah.
for whatever reason, wasn't recording the snow. And one of my mentors in Mississippi State, Dr. Mike Brown, he's a state climatologist, and he
Right.
hit me up and he was like, "Hey, we don't have any measurements from Gulfport." So I measured, I had a snowboard out. I was measuring the whole time because
That's awesome.
obviously
Yeah.
I'm a weather nerd. And the 7 inches that came for the record, all-time record of Gulfport that tied the 63 came from my backyard.
That's
So
awesome.
it's
That is
kind of, I
awesome.
know it's a super nerdy thing, but
No, that's awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
here in Florida, I mean, we set state all-time records.
yeah,
It was our
So Dr.
largest snowfall
Brown,
since I want to say 1899.
wow.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it
Dr.
was a
Yeah.
1 in 100 year. You're right.
He
Yeah.
was like, I know a guy
Yep.
in
Yeah, that's
Gulfport.
awesome.
And it
Very
was
good.
cool because they're always skeptical of getting, but I'm like breaking down
Yeah, yeah.
snow ratios, telling them
Right.
how I measured
Right.
it, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, we got it."
The guy that teaches pretty much all the people you see on TV these days, he knows
Oh,
how to take a snow measurement.
right.
So that was yesterday, and we saw no snow falling ourselves up here in Pennsylvania and New York, but it was definitely a snowy scene,
Yeah,
snow
Right.
on the
that was
ground.
beautiful.
Yep, pretty neat
Mhm.
stuff, and it got a lot colder as we traveled north. All right, I do want to show y'all. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. I thought about something that I forgot to load up, but we'll load it up in a minute. So looking at lower 48 weather and Alaska, Hawaii too, and I got to get this telestrator working the way I want. We will use red and we will use oh, there it is, the disappearing pin. Thank you very much. And let's move this guy. Oh, it just does that. All right. So clearly, sorry, I'm not on my home computer, so I'm getting used to this. So in the east, you can kind of pretty much see where the trough is. Let me get a thicker stroke line with
Yeah.
that sucker. That's ridiculous. There we go. So our trough is pretty much in the east over here, generally speaking, ridge out west, stagnant air still, the fog, etc. Very little sensible weather other than temperatures west of the Mississippi. And so
Yeah.
this deep trough that is dug down, we have northwest flow right now, right, Greg? It's not
Yeah, I
zone.
mean,
So that's helping to
no.
drain.
No, I mean, it looks to me like this pattern will continue for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Now maybe this won't help snow lovers and this won't help snowpack, but as we move into spring and, with El Nino maybe
Right.
getting going, then maybe the subtropical jet
Right.
will start to crank
Yeah,
and bring more
go this
moisture
way.
into the west.
Well, it looks like it's going to make an early hint of an appearance coming up later in the week. I'll show you a tweet from Ben Knoll regarding that because, Greg, we are quickly shifting the INSO state.
Yes, it's
It
happening
is
fast.
Yeah.
crazy how fast that is happening. So, yeah, CJ, some of that air making its way all the way down to your area. So, I
Yep.
think some of these, let's just click on this. I believe that's that purplish color.
Yeah,
And we
those
do
are
have,
yeah,
yeah,
freezes up towards
freezes.
Jacksonville.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Wow. Very, very cold down there. Again,
Yep.
so this is going to affect some of the horse country, Ocala area, all the way down close to the parks areas of Orlando,
Mhm.
southern Georgia. So really hard freezes coming up. Inland lows 26 to 32, widespread frost, deep freeze, etc. Yeah, winter's all of a sudden back. Now, all of these colors through here, you don't see this very often, but I think this is your wind chill or, uh,
Whatever they call it now.
yeah, let's see what it
I think it's
is. Because
cold
all of
weather
Minnesota's
advisory or
covered in it.
something.
Cold
Yeah,
weather advisory.
that's it.
So very, very cold. Let's just click on Hibbing, Minnesota, give you an idea. Minus 17 up there right now.
No, then no
And they warm up to positive 12 by Wednesday, and
heat
then
wave.
minus 27 again by late in the week. So cold weather advisories for a good chunk of the upper Midwest and the Lakes region. And
Right.
Greg, where we are, let's just click on New York, jump ahead a little bit. There are heavy freezing spray warnings for the Lake Ontario and Erie. I'm going to take you down there. I'm going to show you that
Yeah, I can't wait.
Tuesday.
I can't wait.
Get some freezing spray on Greg. He'll love that.
Ugh.
He's gonna look like Jack
Yeah,
Nicholson.
or the kid from Christmas Story.
Right. Or
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, that's the national map. Looks like the Thule fog is back, perhaps
Oh,
in the Central Valley there. And I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of attention for the cold in the east and the coming rumors of storms part, but it is very stagnant out here in the west. And again,
mhm.
Utah and Colorado, especially, really lacking in the snow. Luckily, the Pacific mountains out here in Washington, Oregon, and then the Sierra got a lot of snowpack from the early
Yeah,
storms,
they did.
and all
Right.
of California is drought free, but we are definitely in a dry spell right now. Not much in the way of storminess in the ski areas, especially. All right, so saying hello to everybody here on the chat. Anybody new? Good to see you, Javier, and down there. He's in Miami. So Javier, Southeast Florida, you were in the 80s yesterday, while CJ, what was your high yesterday, CJ? You
Our
remember?
high yesterday was an upside down day for us
Yep,
because we hit our high earlier in the morning. The front came through around noon. I think we hit 73, 74 degrees, and
gotcha.
then by nightfall it was in the mid 40s.
All right, so Javier down there in Miami enjoying close to mid 80s, and then there was snow in the
Yes.
Panhandle. Just
Ready for the
wild.
big game tonight.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, he wants to make sure he's back to the hotel to watch that. It's
We're,
Miami versus Indiana.
yeah.
Nice. 7:30, right?
Yeah, 7:30.
7:30.
That's a weird kickoff time. Like, why not 8?
I don't know. Well, I think what happens too is they have the national anthem and
Oh, that's
it doesn't
true.
Yeah.
get going for a good 15, 20 minutes.
That's right. That's right. Because like basketball times during the NCAA, you'll see it'll say 9:12,
Yeah, exact time. Yeah.
7:36.
And
Like, what?
they're pretty close to tip off at those times.
But they don't take into account overtime. Anyway, we won't talk about overtime in NFL games.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, when we rolled into Buffalo, you could feel the sadness.
Yeah, they fired their coach today.
Yeah, I
Unbelievable.
just saw that.
Ugh,
We
I kind
fired
of
our
feel
coach too, so I
makes it
can't.
worse.
who's your team?
The Steelers.
Well, it could be worse. I'm
Yeah.
the Raiders, the worst team in the league. I'm loyal, but
Heartbreak.
yeah, we're horrible.
You've been to a Raiders game in Vegas, right?
Yes, I went to a game with my good
That's
friend
awesome.
Josh Johnson, who's chief in Montgomery. It was awesome until we lost by
Sure.
40 to the Chiefs and Mahomes would just pound us. So,
Yeah, well.
I mean, look, growing up in LA, they were the
Yeah.
LA Raiders when I was a
Yep, yep,
kid.
yep,
Bo
yep,
Jackson is why I'm a Raiders fan.
yep.
I'm cursed on the Raiders, but I'm blessed on the Dodgers.
Right.
Well,
True.
the
Very
Raiders will
true.
turn it around just like the Golden Knights have done in hockey.
Yep.
Maybe in
So,
20 years.
right. And then we're going to eventually have professional baseball there in Vegas.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's a satellite shot just to show you guys, and I'm going to refresh it just to make sure we have the latest frames. And I know I've talked about this before, a little trivia for you guys. Let me freeze it there. Uh, and for those of you that remember this before, what is the name of this right here? The demarcation between light and dark. That line is called the Terminator. It is.
It is.
Exactly. That's what it's called, the Terminator. Yep. So there you go. I showed you a phenomenon yesterday as we were driving up. Our nature provided it, the
Yeah.
Venus belt. So when the
Oh
sun
yeah.
is setting
Yep.
and you got good, beautiful, clear skies, it's that deep
That
purple
was really
to
cool.
pink. It's the
Hmm.
gradient, and it's called Venus belt. And it's the Earth's shadow out in space as the sun has set behind you, and the Earth is blocking the sun at that point, and the shadow is out in front in space. We saw that
Right.
coming up. You see that on the Outer Banks on our Rodanthe cam
Yep. You
from
see it
time
here
to
all the
time.
time.
So, national satellite, uh, I mean, there's a lot of cold air, a few disturbances coming through the lakes region up here, and we're going to talk about that more. Going to really crank up, especially Ontario. But overall, not a very bad pattern for air travel for sure in terms of weather delays. Now, there might be some turbulence because the atmosphere is pretty juiced right now with a lot of energy moving through it.
Right.
But notice, especially out here in the west, the lack of any cloud cover or storminess.
Mm-mm.
Not much sign of the subtropical jet at all, but I
Nope.
think that's going to change. You have the cold air advection that's made its way out over the warm waters of the Atlantic and the Gulf. And these are, what is that called? Is that stratocumulus at the
Sure. I mean,
very
it's
low?
hard for me to see, but it sure looks like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it looks
very
like
low
it.
cloud deck. I think that's called stratocumulus. But yeah, kind of a benign pattern overall as we set the stage and reset things for what's coming later in the week. Let me kill some of these tabs. All right, so Greg and I are up here for Lake Effect Snow. I first,
Bucket list.
yes,
I'm so excited.
I first
That's
came up
awesome.
for it in 2020. Now, CJ, you and I have talked about it when you lived in Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
Whereabouts did you live, just to refresh
So
the crowd on that?
I grew up in the city in Pittsburgh.
Gotcha.
But even though we're a little bit further from the lake, those longer bands, especially on a good northwest flow, you
Yep.
can get finger bands the whole way down from the Ohio Lake shore into West Virginia in the upslope of the mountains. So
Hmm.
we'd get lake effect snow. And then where my camp is in northwestern Pennsylvania, obviously much closer to the lake, within 60 miles or so, you get that called the snow belt up there.
Right.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I saw it first in 2020. I came up for one, and I've been up two or three times since then. Most
Mhm.
recent was I don't know if I was up here in 24, but doesn't matter. It's been a few times. It is phenomenal. It is really interesting to see. Greg's always wanted to do it. I saw it showing up in the globals. I was like, hey, I was just taking a stab at it. You want to go? He's like, yep, I can. So he
Yep.
flew up to Wilmington from Gulfport, Mississippi, and here we are. So,
Right.
in a nutshell, what does it take to get the true Erie, Ontario Lake machine going?
Well, the first thing, the big difference between the two right now is Erie is freezing over. And actually, CJ and I were just talking about it. It's because it's a much shallower lake.
Right.
And when we, about a week ago, most of Erie was still opened up, but it's
Hmm.
almost 50% frozen in the last week. So in Ontario, deeper lake, there's multiple factors going on here. And I could spend, as I said
Right.
in my life, I
Yeah.
could spend an hour going through this. But let's just break it down kind of in a Clip Notes version. So, the first thing we're looking for, the minimum criteria for lake effect snow is a 13 degrees Celsius difference between the lake temperature and 850 millibars. We have that checked off easily, all right? It's
Yeah.
being conservative in the away from the shoreline, obviously, because it's a little more shallow there as you move in towards the middle part of Lake Ontario. I was looking at temperatures as high as 45 degrees. So
Wow.
even if we're conservative, we go low 40s, we go 5, 6 degrees Celsius. The Weather Service was talking today that later in the evening, the 850 temps are going to drop to minus 20.
So that's about
Wow.
5,000 feet
Yeah.
above the
Yeah.
ground. And it's that
So,
temperature gradient.
so if we need a 13-degree difference and we're getting a 26-degree difference, we're doubling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is the lake induced equilibrium level. That's the top
Yep.
of your cloud, right? 10,000 feet is a pretty good baseline for warning criteria. We're already at 12,000 feet, which shows, deeper moisture and also shows more instability. That should
Right.
continue to grow throughout the day.
Yep.
The winds will start shifting more, you'll see the band north of Buffalo, north of Watertown, and as the
Yep.
winds shift out of the west, that band will shift south. It will
Exactly.
go more into the classic areas in the Tug Hill Plateau. So things are coming together. Now, it doesn't mean it's nothing to sneeze at off Lake Erie. South of Buffalo, you'll see easily probably a foot of snow, maybe
Yep.
in some areas up to 18 inches or so. Um, but south of Watertown and the Tug Hill, we're looking at least 2 feet up to 4 feet of snow. Now, one factor that can limit this, the actual totals of the snow is we are going to see wind gusts pushing 40, 45, 50
Yep.
miles an hour. So when you have these, there's something called the dendritic growth zone or the prime snow growth region, which is minus 12 by minus 18, really minus 10 words, minus 10 to minus 18. You form those beautiful dendritic
Yep. You
crystals
guys seen
that
pictures of
just
those?
beautifully come
Yeah.
down, right? Well, they're very delicate. So when there's no
Right.
wind, they can fall and then they can pile up, and there's a
Yep.
lot more air in there,
Yep. A lot
right?
of space between them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
So
like the difference between a bunch of ice cubes versus
feathers.
fresh
Yeah.
feather dice. Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Right.
powder ice.
So what will happen, and it will be cool when it comes to the drifts. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine
And the
how,
blowing snow.
yeah,
Very
it's
dramatic.
gonna look like a blizzard for sure. But it will rip those dendrites up and they'll compact more
Yep.
efficiently and it'll kind of push the snow down a little
Yeah, it's
bit.
like a game of
Right.
Tetris.
But yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Really though, again, this is more complicated, but this really comes down to a duration thing. When you're forecasting this, as you become more familiar with the
Right.
ingredients, what I always tell my students is this just takes a lot of practice. So if you look at the ingredients, you go, this typically leads to 1 to 2 inches per hour. This leads to 2 to 3 inches. This leads to 3 to 4. Well, even the Weather Service is saying up to 3 to 4 inches per hour rates, right?
Wow.
So now it comes down to duration. And this is where it can get tricky because there's a huge difference of 3 to 4 inch rates for 10 hours versus 15 hours versus 20 hours, right? And this is what makes this so difficult. The other thing that's difficult is the tiniest wind shift
Yeah.
could be like, let's be real. If you call for southerly winds and it's in 180 southerly and it's 170, no one cares.
Right.
But if you call for westerly winds off the lake with 2 to 3 feet of snow and those winds shift 5, 10 degrees, that could be the difference
Right.
between feet of snow and maybe a couple inches of snow.
Right. It's like the hose
Yes.
aiming it just a little bit north or south or whatever.
And that's the key. You just said the
Right.
hose. So that's another factor. You have to have less than 30 degrees of wind shear
Mm.
because it's like the less the shear, the more like the hose is
Focus.
wide open and
Right.
focused. If I have more shear, I'm putting my thumb over the hose and the moisture is spreading out. And that's when the bands look more fibrous looking versus more compacted. Now, look, I won't bore you too much. I can go on forever because this is like a bucket list for me. I've been waiting and I've been forecasting this for 25 years, so
Yeah.
I've been waiting to do this.
So as we drove up, I want to show you guys this. I forgot to cue it up. So I'll show you now real quick. We saw the snow band that had already developed over Lake Erie. And I looked at the radar scope. If you were watching the live stream yesterday, you heard me absolutely freak out because there was a snow squall warning. And there it is.
Yeah, with the lights, it was really cool.
So this is a video of it from the drone. So that is the Lake Snow Band
Yep.
right there over Lake Erie. Buffalo would be over here, and that's the linear band. And I was just like a
Yeah.
kid on Christmas Day, like,
I mean, I've showed it many
Yep.
times, but I've never actually seen it, and the other thing too is we have a shortwave coming through. And when that kicks
Yeah.
in, that's just going to ramp it up even
And
more.
you're actually seeing that, Greg, right now. You're starting to see the influence of it over Western Pennsylvania and Northeast Ohio,
Yep.
Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, where there's some snow squall warnings for the Cleveland and Pittsburgh metro areas, portions
wow.
of them. So you're gonna see that influence throughout the day. Mark, that video of the lake effect snow band, we used to go to Erie in the winter. Um, there's a like indoor water park right there off of I-90,
Right?
close to the city up there. And I remember, driving because you get up to the top of the escarpment before you go down into the basin, and you could see that, from from miles away. It is definitely a quintessential part of living along the Great Lakes. You get used to those. You could see them from miles away, and you watch them slowly come towards you or slowly move away.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so many
Hmm.
it's not even meso, it's micro scale features.
Hmm.
Another
Exactly.
thing I teach the lake sea breezes,
Yep.
and I've heard of stories where people are jogging and you're literally in 78 degree, and then you
Oh
move through
yeah.
the lake sea breeze and it's 45, 50 degrees, and
Oh
you go
yeah.
back and forth on a
That's
plot.
crazy.
That's
Yep.
how
Oh,
micro it is.
absolutely. That's why the
So neat.
wineries are up close to the lakes there, Mark, because the lakes up there, there's so
Right.
many microclimates in those little coves, and it all depends on, your precise geography as well as, how close to the lake shore you are.
Yeah, obviously different, but it kind of has that
Hmm.
mountainous feel like you
Right.
would have in the
Oh
West,
yeah.
where the tiny
Hmm.
valleys and different
Right.
things affect
Yep.
areas so dramatically.
Well, the
Hmm.
her is really picking up on it as
Yep.
we get through the next day or so. Not a lot of action off of Lake Erie. And again, a good
Hmm.
chunk of the western part is frozen.
I think some of that has to do, there's a little more wind shear.
Right.
I think
But
it's a little,
then
Right.
tonight, it really starts to crank off of Ontario. And we're looking about right here. I want you to focus in this area. You got your Tug Hill region in there. And it really starts to get cranking. And then it lasts. Greg was talking about the duration, while not like all week. That is a great little fire
yeah, that's
hose.
just sitting there.
Yeah.
Just and see how it
So yeah,
wait.
go back a little bit. So that's a good, I mean, that's at least 36 hours it looks
Yes,
like.
sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at that right off, and it goes from just north of Syracuse along 81, Highway 11, Adams Center, up towards Watertown, like
Yep.
right over Watertown, right there, and then it starts to dissipate. And then Tuesday night into Wednesday as the next piece of energy comes in, and then you and I'll wrap things up and start heading out Wednesday afternoon or evening, and get down and get you home, and then we got to get ready for the next big thing. So we're up here covering these lake snows. We're going to show this to you today. Let me just go back real quick to the radar. We are going to start with basically literally chasing. Oh, yeah, you're right, CJ. There's the
Hmm.
snowfall warnings there in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Very interesting. So we're going to get out after we're done with the show and everything. We're going to get some breakfast and we're going to head out, get that radar back up. So Buffalo is sitting right there, and we're over here on the east side, basically, and we're just going to drive up this way and get into the thicker part.
Yeah, sounds
Right.
awesome.
Show you all what it looks like over here off of Erie. And we do have a live camera over in Cheektowaga. Our friend Bill allowed us to set it up over there, Bill and Cassie. How cool is that to hang out with them and
Oh, super nice
just,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
the video gaming, the
That's awesome.
astronomy, the rocket launch stuff, that
He
is
showed us a piece from space.
absolutely. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has
That's
a piece
awesome.
of Starship, CJ, this guy Bill.
Interesting.
When it blew up one time, he bought it
Oh,
off eBay, he
Yeah,
said,
he
right?
said land in the Caribbean somewhere.
that's
Yep. So
great.
people were
That's
selling those
crazy.
tiles. It was an
Right.
octagon,
Yeah,
right?
it's an octagon.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway, we're
funny.
going to show you
Wow.
that. We'll be live on YouTube later today. We go live publicly at 1 p.m. Eastern Time through 8 o'clock tonight. So we'll show you this, and then we're going to head up towards uh, the Ontario effects for tomorrow and into Wednesday. All right.
Awesome.
So I am sure that already you guys know where we're going with this.
Oh yeah.
We had one storm come through last Wednesday. The 12Z GFS tripped the algorithm with that one run. A lot of people got excited about it. I certainly was. I was alerting my family. Was talking about it at lunch duty that afternoon with my daughter's friends. We got a chance of snow in just a few days. It was like 4 days away. Didn't
Yeah.
happen. It was in the
Womp
40s and
womp.
rained in Wilmington. It's happened again. We're starting to see the models, the pattern, etc. Several days out now. We're talking 6 or 7
Yeah, I mean
days,
that's eternity.
and it is just absolutely flooded the zone, at least on my algorithm, with
Hmm.
this rumors of storms. And that's the pun here. I heard it through the algorithm instead of the grapevine. So I was going to show you what some of the people were saying. Then we're going to kind of break it down and kind of look at what do we look for, keys to the game. What could some of the impacts be if it were to come to fruition, and some of the pitfalls to look for, that you don't get sucked in, especially if you're a snow lover, that you don't get too excited about it. And then when it doesn't happen, you blame the meteorological community. We're trying to teach you something.
Yeah.
All right. So Ben Knoll put this out today. Winter storms have been lacking across the southern U.S. lately because of a weak subtropical jet. That's going to change next weekend. This strengthening jet is tied to an El Nino-like convective pulse and a westerly wind burst in the Pacific. It's all connected. And there it is, his incredible animations that he does. We're going to finally get some of that energy. And I think we're in
Yeah.
phase 8.
Yeah, I believe so.
And
I haven't looked at it in the
so there
last
you
couple
go.
of
And then
days.
during hurricane season, we'd be like, uh-oh, here we go. So what it's doing is it's creating just enough of that.
And you can see the subtropical
Yep.
and the polar
Right.
just starting to phase there.
Yep. So this is coming also, want to cite the model is tiny. That's the ECMWF. So, you're not looking at, you know, Jack's weather model or
Yeah,
something,
it's an actual legit model.
as and unfortunately GFS has kind of fallen
Yeah.
off for you want to root for your home country's model, but come on, do better.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
So that's what is that? Probably 500 millibars or something, I guess.
It's kind of hard to read, but I would assume.
But this is the operational from 6Z this morning, and this is what a lot of people are talking about. All right, we'll just run through the full 6 days because it only goes out to 6 days on the off runs. So there's the lake snows, by the way. And you were telling me when they show up on a global
Yeah, when
model,
you see a band on the global model, that's not because
right?
Yeah, no,
obviously
it's
why the global model doesn't have the
Right.
resolution to pick up
yeah,
that type of band. So if it's seeing it, that's a clear sign that it's probably a decent to big event.
So
right.
we're all done by this point in time. This is Wednesday. We're going to be heading south through some shenanigans. Probably got to get Greg back to jump on a plane by Friday evening.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting out when I am.
Because, oh my goodness, there you go. 1047 millibar high.
Wow.
That's got to be thick and it's got to be cold coming
Yep.
down out of Canada. And it sets the stage from New Mexico all the way to the mid-Atlantic for a major ice and snowstorm. That is 129 hours out. Not exactly hype
Mhm.
country that, and
No,
not a little,
but a
it's
lot can change. A
right.
lot can
Right.
change.
So that's what we're seeing. That's what a lot of people are talking about. And it really could be nasty. Now, what do you see here that could make it the keys to the game, the fail mode?
Well, I mean, I think regardless, it's safe to say there's a significant pattern change coming, right?
Right.
And a trough is coming. My question is, how much blocking do we have to drive that vortex or help it drive further south, right?
Right.
The core of the
Right.
cold air. Right now, when I was looking at it last night, the NAO is actually positive, right? So that's not showing a lot of
Mhm.
blocking.
So that shows a more progressive.
Yes, a more
Gotcha.
progressive
Right.
pattern. Now, there's
Yeah.
obviously other factors.
Right.
We're just cherry and picking one,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
got to be careful about that. But it does show in the next 4 or 5 days that it's going to start phasing more into the negative, not overly strong
Right.
negative. If it was like been pronounced negative NEO and it was been sitting there for a while, and then I would feel stronger that this
Sure.
core would be coming more towards, the southern part of the United
Instead of
States.
sliding on
Whereas
through.
I'm thinking
Right.
this as of now it's still gonna be very cold. It's still gonna be a significant event potentially, but it's gonna move more towards northeast US, the core of that, right?
So
Right.
trending north,
Yeah, I mean,
potentially.
yeah, I mean, even in that, it's kind of like, it's not if you get ice in the middle of Mississippi, that is significant. I mean, that doesn't happen all the
Right.
time.
Right.
The thing that you got to be careful about, I don't think there's anything wrong saying, hey, we need to watch this, we need to monitor this. Looks like a significant pattern change. There's a potential for a storm. Those are all fine.
Right.
Where I have trouble, is when people are literally posting snowfall maps and accumulations.
Right.
And this is exactly where the ice is going to be and things like that.
6, 7 days
I don't
out.
care how good of a forecaster you are. You cannot get into those specific.
Right.
And even
Nope.
one of the guy that really started Mississippi State Meteorology, Dr. Charles Wax, he used to tell me all the time, anything over 3 days is magic. Now, obviously, things have progressed a lot in the 70s and 80s, and our technologies have advanced. So yes, we can look at pattern changes, but
Right.
you can't go, oh, Jackson, Mississippi is going to get a quarter inch of
Right.
ice at this time. That's
Right.
where you get yourself.
You go from this, and on some of the other model sites, you could take that, and then you could say, let me see the snow amounts, and then you send that out on your social media.
Yeah.
100,000 people saw it, huge engagement. And then when it doesn't happen, that snow didn't occur, you blame, the weather
Yeah.
people always get it wrong.
So let me give you an example. The last event, right? I live in Gulfport, Mississippi on the coast. You say hurricane there, I mean, I hate to say it, even with Katrina, it's just like another day, right?
Right.
We're going to be ready for it.
Yep.
You say snow, everyone loses it, right?
Exactly.
My wife is works as a meteorologist at WLOX in Biloxi, right?
Right.
I can't tell you how many texts and how many things she was getting. Is it going to snow? Are we going to get snow? How much
Wow.
snow? And this was like 5 days out. And it's like,
Hmm.
whoa, pump the brakes a little bit here, right? I get it. This is this the age we're in. This is the social media age we're in. And to be fair to a lot of meteorologists, sometimes it's the station putting
Yeah.
this out. It's the digital team putting this out. So you have to respond to it. I think the key is,
Competing for
yeah,
eyeballs.
the key is you just have to put context behind it. You
Right.
really
And
have to
that's what we're
explain
trying to
it.
do here.
Yeah,
And not, as
Right.
I said, we're not breaking people
no,
down,
of course not.
but just like what to look for. Again, when you tune into the big game, whatever it is, basketball, or hockey, baseball, football, tonight we got the national championship game, and you know they're going to have keys to the game
Yeah,
because not
like
everybody's an expert in
look
football.
at the Denver Buffalo game, right? The second that game
Right.
is over, Denver has its quarterback, everyone feels differently. Then we find out, maybe I don't know, 30 minutes later that he broke his ankle. Now all of a sudden from probably being a favorite, they're now an underdog at home.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's a good example of how things can change really quickly.
Yep.
Obviously that's
Sports and
sport,
weather,
but
folks. I tell you, they're more related than you know. So yeah, CJ, this has definitely got a lot of people talking.
and
Yeah,
there
I've
is
seen it.
potential. There is potential. If you get the phasing, a little more blocking,
Right.
yeah, maybe it's not some historic
Right.
deep trough, but still, if you live through the Tennessee Valley, places like that, and moving into the Northeast, it could be a significant event.
Well, this just face value would bring another major ice situation for Texas and Oklahoma, finally some precip for Kansas. And, that's 123 hours out. That's just about 5 days.
Yeah,
Uh,
Right.
that's not
at least it's not 300. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Right.
So this could have some serious implications for travel, both air and by interstate travel, truckers, you name it. And then I think, CJ, the thing I'm really seeing here that concerns me the most is how many people will be affected.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you're talking a huge swath of population across the entirety of the southern United States, as well as into the very populated mid-Atlantic
We did a
region.
max headroom there for a second.
yeah.
Something went goofy on the Zoom. That was funny.
Sorry.
Um,
Oh no, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, do that again.
Yeah,
Now, for those that say, well, this will just trend north. Okay, fine. If you take that and you move it north 300
Yeah, I
miles,
mean,
it's
you're
still
it's
talking
still
going
going
to
heavy
to
snow and
bleed.
ice
Right,
for Philadelphia, Pittsburgh,
right,
Cincinnati,
right.
the DC metro, New
So
York
don't worry
City,
about the specifics.
right.
Oh,
It's
Dallas
too
could have a
early.
big ice storm. It's more, there is potential
Yep.
for a significant storm. Just like when you'd say, tonight's game should be a great game between a couple of powerhouse teams. And then you have a few people. What do you think's going to happen? Well, I think Miami's probably going to do this, and I look
Right.
at them winning by a touchdown.
yeah. There's a
Probably
there's a reason why Vegas wins.
right.
It's a lot
Right.
harder than you think.
Yes.
And look, what I always tell people, I've been doing this a long time now. I teach it, right?
Hmm.
Really, in the end, you're going to be wrong no matter what. There's no such thing as perfection in forecasting. What I
Exactly.
try to do is just be less wrong than you. That's all it is, right? I mean, that's really in the end. When we were winning those national titles and forecasting stuff, it wasn't because we were always right. We were just less wrong than the other people. That's all it was.
Tune in to
Exactly.
KLAX weather, where we are less wrong than you.
It's the truth, though.
It's one part art, one part science, one part luck.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna get that's some t-shirt material there. Less wrong than you, pal.
I like that.
I mean, if you're getting 60, 70% of your forecast, you're pretty darn good.
Hmm. I would agree.
So Tony Pan up here at WBAL. Set your phasers on stun, Captain Kirk, he says. Well, it looks like we will finally see phasing of Northern Jet Branch and Southern Jet Branch
Yeah.
energy this winter. The result, a big storm. Now, again, we're not besmirching him, but I would caution saying a big storm will develop. It looks really
Right.
likely, but I just would have said a big storm has the potential to develop. But again, we're not trying to attack the gentleman at all because it may not develop like,
Yeah.
but that's he is obviously, knows what he's doing and has done it for a while. And it looks pretty solid that something significant is going to happen.
Yeah, will
Hmm.
Baltimore get monster snow? I mean, there's potential, but I would be a little cautious on that because it really depends on the progression. If
Yeah.
it pulls through quickly instead of turning
Yep.
up the coast or
Exactly.
slowing down, that makes a huge difference
Yep.
on snow amounts.
Too soon to tell, but stay tuned, folks. So there you go. So that's one perspective. And then you got even our area, National Weather Service, well, my hometown area, Eastern North Carolina. And these are your probabilities. This is not,
Mm-hmm.
so this index here, the increasing potential for winter weather impacts this weekend. This is out of National Weather Service, Morehead City, Newport area in North Carolina. It's starting to really trip those different signals
Right.
that some serious winter
Yeah.
weather is looming. And
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
definitely good to get people to pay attention because it's so widespread this time. And this could, the potential is definitely growing for a crippling winter storm for somewhere
Yeah.
east of the
yeah,
Rockies
for
and
sure.
south of the Mason-Dixon line.
And that's where it's difficult. You have to hold that fine line of educating people and
Right.
alerting them versus hyping things up.
And then
Exactly.
locally, as we zoom down, drill in a little bit more, Tim Buckley out of the Triad area of North Carolina, significant risk for either heavy snow or heavy ice. I'd take the heavy snow anytime.
Yeah.
No, no thanks on ice.
Across North
Agreed.
Carolina and Virginia into Sunday, Saturday into Sunday. Lots to be worked out, but the potential is really there for problems.
Yep.
I think that's perfect
Yes,
way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Terrific
That's a
messaging.
way of putting the message across without this is exactly how much
Right,
snow, or this is going to
right,
be, a historic event or whatever, I
right.
mean, now as
And
we get closer, we get to, 72, 48
yep,
hours, then you can fine tune things.
yep. Makes
Right.
total sense.
Heck, even
So,
12, even 12 hours before, Greg, is a
Oh, yeah.
forecaster, these winter storms can be very tricky. One of the bigger storms and from my neck of the woods, especially growing up, was the big winter storms in February of 2010. And I mean, we went to bed that night. They were saying, oh, 6 to 7 inches of snow is what we're gonna get. We woke up the next morning to 2.5 feet. It was the second largest snow total in the city's history. So you never really know. These, it's like trying to figure out a hurricane's intensity a week out. We're just
yeah,
not there yet.
Yeah, well, even like severe weather, when I go out
Yeah,
in case, really until that
exactly.
morning and you actually look at the conditions and look
Mm-hmm.
at the sky cover and look where the short and all that stuff, you don't know. A
No.
funny story with that, I know it was a while ago, but the famous 1979 President's Day storm that went
Okay.
up the East Coast and dropped a ton of snow, I think it was 18.7 inches in DC. The night
Mm-hmm.
before, they called for 1 to 3 inches because they thought it would go off the coast, and then it turned up the coast and they got almost
Yep.
2 feet of snow.
yeah. The year 2000, Raleigh-Durham area got thumped,
Yep.
and it was a major crippling snowstorm. Upper levels, it was just nuts. It just so much more cold air aloft, and they got thumped in the triangle.
Yep.
All right, let's move
But that's a
along.
real good point. You're right, CJ. You really don't know until the day of.
So, Tomer, and this is important here. This is kind of underscoring, not only are meteorologists going to have some problems traveling to the AMS conference, which is
Hmm.
in Houston, but this is what triggered me to think, all right, this is the truckers especially,
Yeah.
and anybody
Right.
doing travel for work. Anyway, so Tomer is going to write a meteorological analysis thread on it when I have more time later today. Let's just say that travel to AMS might be absolutely crippled this weekend with a major cross-country snow and ice storm. If you're traveling to AMS, monitor closely and plan accordingly. The AMS conference, American Meteorological Society, is in Houston this coming weekend. Yikes.
But see what I
Good
like
luck.
about that, he's not saying major in Tennessee, major
Right,
in Miss. He's alerting you to the threat without going into specific
right.
All
details just
right.
to panic people.
But I'm telling you what, that part right there about cross country, we saw it on the modeling.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, this is going to be New England.
Yeah. This is
This
this
could
is
be a whopper.
Right.
what do they call it? A big ticket item?
Big ticket. Yep. I think we'll credit that to Mr. Joe.
Yeah.
Heard that from him. So
Mr.
before we let
Defender.
y'all go, I want to show you this. It was one of our bullet points. Artemis rollout. Very excited in the astronomical community and folks that follow this kind of thing. It made it. Artemis 2 rolled out to the launch pad.
Very cool.
Myself and Mike Farrow, good friend of our project, good friend of me personally, and Brent Lynn from the VI, we're going to go down there as often as we can. I know there's several different windows. This
Mm-hmm.
is important. It's a big time thing. They're going to send 4 people around the moon to get ready for Artemis 3, which people will land on the moon for the first time since the 70s. Yes, it really
I can't
happened.
wait. I'm going to be over
And
there for it as well, Mark. I already I'm
cool.
going to talk to my dad. I mentioned it before, but I want to be there. My dad lives in
Yep.
Port St. John, so we used to watch him from his backyard. But I was there for the Crew Dragon launch when we first launched people into space again from the United States.
Right.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
And
love to do that one day.
it's there in 2022 for Artemis 1, not too many days after Hurricane Nicole had made landfall. And where we
Right.
were in
Where we,
Titusville,
you know,
there was
Hmm.
this boat that was like jacked up on the rocks, and it's in my GoPro video.
Yeah.
If you search Artemis launch hurricane track, you'll find it. And it's from a GoPro that I just put down on a rock. And I showed it to Bill last night. He's a big rocket guy. In the truck, we got a nice Ford F-150 rental truck, and it sounded
Nice.
like you're in an IMAX theater. And I've played it for you before, CJ,
Yeah.
too, because that sound is just incredible. But
Oh yeah,
the weather,
100%.
the weather will start to become an issue because they're going to launch in February, and it doesn't matter when, even in March, whatever. So
Yeah.
this will be a weather-related story as well, and in terms of go, no go, whatever. But I thought I'd mention that
Right.
because this is a good thing that's coming to fruition, and they made it. They're ready, and I think wet dress is February 2nd or so.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's what I had read.
yep,
Lots of people down here, Mark, are talking about it. I mean, it's a huge thing it's a big point of pride for Floridians.
yep.
We are the welcome, the spaceport for the United States. So we're excited to see people finally get launched back to the moon from Cape Canaveral.
Agreed. Well,
yeah.
CJ, I appreciate you hanging out with us before we let
Absolutely.
everybody
Thanks, guys.
go.
Yeah, good talking to you, CJ.
Again, thanks for tuning into the show. We appreciate it. It's nice to be able to know that we can do this on the road. And we will do that, especially during severe weather season. You can see a lot more of this guy, CJ, as well, when he and I are out there. We'll talk about that later, probably when we get into March. But what's happening the rest of the day? Well, we're going to shut this down in about 90 seconds. And then he and I are going to pack up, get out of this hotel, go get some breakfast at the Cracker Barrel. It's just right over there.
Sounds good.
And then we're going to go and show you some lake effect snow. We're going to drive right into that band, and we will be live on YouTube starting at 1 p.m. on the public side. We'll be live on our Discord and the Hurricane Track Insider site for our Patreon folks just as soon as we're done with breakfast. So tune in for that, and we'll show you what's happening with this today, tomorrow, and into Wednesday. And yes, we'll have a show tomorrow also at 10 a.m., and another one on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And we'll see what's coming with this big time winter storm that's going to start creeping up in the charts in terms of, eventually it's going to be the number one story, and we'll stay on top of that. Well, Greg, we did it, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
hanging out with
no
me.
problem.
And from room whatever the hell I am right now, I am Mark Sutta. That's Greg Nordstrom. This has been Talking Weather. We'll see y'all tomorrow.